Hello and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning in to News 9 Live. I'm Kabir Naqvi. You're watching this special edition of Top Stories from our studios here in the National Capital Region. An expansive list of stories and the top story that we're tracking for you, this news wheel. Because right after coming out of jail, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, he has shared his packed schedule for today. Take a look at this. Arvind Kejriwal is shortly going to be holding a meeting with the MLAs, all the Aam Aadmi Party leaders and MLAs at his residence in Civil Lines. Now, Arvind Kejriwal will also hold a road show at Moti Nagar at 4 p.m. and Uttam Nagar at 6 p.m. But interestingly, today again at 1 p.m., a proper press conference is going to take place. Meanwhile, while addressing his first rally just a day after coming out of jail, you can see those visuals on your screens, Arvind Kejriwal said that voting for Narendra Modi in the Lok Sabha election 2024 would mean voting for Amit Shah. Now a new Prime Minister succession row that has come to the fore. He said that Narendra Modi is going to retire next year after turning 75, and after Narendra Modi's retirement, Amit Shah would become the Prime Minister. Listen in.
जब आप अगर जो वैसे तो मेरे को लगता मैं भी आऊंगा उसके ऊपर, मुझे नहीं लगता इनकी सरकार बन रही है, लेकिन जो बीजेपी को वोट देने जाएं वो ये सोच के जाना कि आप मोदी जी के नाम पे वोट नहीं दे रहे, आप अमित शाह के नाम पे वोट दे रहे हैं.
Well, now responding to these very claims, Home Minister Amit Shah said that Kejriwal has nothing to be happy about Prime Minister Modi turning 75. He said that it's not written in BJP's constitution anywhere that Narendra Modi can't be the Prime Minister after he attains the age of 75. He will be the Prime Minister and complete his term. There is no confusion within the party, is what the Home Minister says.
मैं अरविंद केजरीवाल एंड कंपनी और पूरे इंडिया अलायंस को कहना चाहता हूं, मोदी जी 75 साल के हो जाए, इससे आपको आनंदित होने की जरूरत नहीं है. ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी के संविधान में कहीं नहीं लिखा है. मोदी जी ही ये टर्म पूरी करेंगे और मोदी जी ही आगे देश का नेतृत्व करते रहेंगे. इसमें भारतीय जनता पार्टी में कोई कंफ्यूजन नहीं है. ये कंफ्यूजन खड़ा करना चाहिए.
It is the election season, and amidst the Lok Sabha 2024 polling, Rahul Gandhi, Congress leader, said that he himself or Congress's party chief Mallikarjun Kharge would be pleased to participate in a public debate on the Lok Sabha elections and expressed hope that the Prime Minister would also accept his invitation. Union Minister Smriti Irani, meanwhile, has taken a jibe at the Congress leader and questioned if Rahul Gandhi was the NDA's India bloc's, the opposition bloc's prime ministerial candidate, and whether he could debate with a person of stature like the Prime Minister.
दो चीजें, जिस व्यक्ति में इतनी हिम्मत नहीं कि वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी के एक सामान्य कार्यकर्ता से अपने सो कॉल्ड गढ़ में चुनाव लड़ सके, वो डींगे ना ही हाँके तो बेहतर. लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री मोदी के साथ समतल एक समकक्ष बात करने वाले व्यक्ति से मैं पूछना चाहती हूँ, क्या वो इंडी गठबंधन के प्रधानमंत्री के उम्मीदवार हैं?
Now, Rahul Gandhi accepted the invitation of Justice Madan B. Lokur, former chairman of the Law Commission of India, Ajit P. Shah and senior journalist N. Ram, who had written to the Congress leader and the Prime Minister earlier this week, inviting them to a platform for a debate on key election issues. In their letter addressed to the country's leaders, they had stated the proposal for the debate was non-partisan and in the broader interest of every citizen. Take a look at this. Taking to social media platform X, Rahul Gandhi said it would be a positive initiative for the major parties to present their vision to the country from one platform for a healthy democracy. Congress welcomes this initiative and accepts the invitation for a discussion. Rahul Gandhi further wrote that the country also expects the Prime Minister to take part in this dialogue. Meanwhile, asserting that the BJP would not be able to win in the state of Odisha in the next 10 years, Chief Minister of the state Naveen Patnaik on Saturday claimed that his BJP party would return to the power for the 6th consecutive time after the assembly elections on the 10th of June. Patnaik was in fact reacting to Prime Minister Narendra Modi telling an election rally earlier in the day that the swearing-in ceremony of a BJP Chief Minister will be held in Bhubaneswar on the 10th of June. Listen in to what Naveen Patnaik had to say.
मोर कौन मन कि नहीं ओडिशावासी 24 वर्ष है भल भाव जानी किंतु माननीय प्रधानमंत्री आपण ओडिशा को केते मने रखिचंती ओडिया भाषा क्लासिकल लैंग्वेज हैला परे भी आपण ओडिया भाषा को भूली गले संस्कृत को हजार कोटी ओडिया भाषा को शून्य आपण ओडिसी म्यूजिक को भूली गले मु ओडिसी म्यूजिक को क्लासिकल मान्यता पाई 2 थर प्रपोजल पठाई थी और आपण 2 थर रिजेक्ट कले ओडिशा रे बहुत वीरपुत्र अछंती केते ना आजी आपण भी कहले कई जन हेले भारत रत्न पाई कौन ठीक लागलेनी आपण भारत रत्न बांटिला बेले ओडिशा रो वीरपुत्र बिजू पटनायक को भी भूली गले आपण चासी मानन को पाई एमएसपी 2 गुण करबा को प्रॉमिस करी थिले आपण ताकू भी भूली गले आपण ओडिशा लोकों को मने रखिकी कोस्टल हाईवे करबा थिला सेटा भी भूली गले ओडिशा रो संपद कोयला आपण नेउ छंती रॉयल्टी बढ़िबा पाई 10 वर्ष हैला भूली गले केवल इलेक्शन टाइम रे ओडिशा को मने पकाइले किछि लाभ नहीं अपन 2014 और 2019 रे निजे करिथिबा प्रॉमिसेस को मने रखिचंती की ओडिशा वासी आपण कर कहिथिबा दर बुद्धि को कमाइबा 2 कोटी जॉब्स करिबा एलपीजी पेट्रोल डीजल दर कमाइबा मोबाइल कनेक्टिविटी देबा जीएसटी छाड़ करिबा सबु ओडिशा वासी मने रखिचंती जून 10 रे तो नुहे आउ 10 वर्ष रे भी बीजेपी ओडिशा लोकों करो हृदय जीति पारिबो नहीं महाप्रभु को आशीर्वाद एवं ओडिशा वासी को भले पारिबा जोगु बिजू जनता दल 6 टाइम ओडिशा रे सरकार गड़िबो बंदे उत्कल जननी
Naveen Patnaik there, exuberating confidence. Meanwhile, shifting our focus here, the Manipur police on the 10th of May had arrested 6 cadres of the KCP from Imphal East district. They were involved in kidnapping of 2 individuals from Imphal East. The 2 kidnapped victims were also rescued by the Manipur police. Further, from their possessions, the following items were recovered as well, which is a Maruti Suzuki van, 1 2-wheeler vehicle and 5 mobile phones. Moving on, an exchange of fire broke out between Naxals and security forces in the border areas of Dhamtari and Ghariaband in Chhattisgarh. 1 Naxal died on the spot and 3 to 4 Naxals were injured. Now 2 police teams were dispatched for an operation during which the Naxals initiated gunfire. In retaliation, firing by the police, 1 Naxal died on the spot, 3-4 Naxals got injured. The search operation in the jungle is currently underway.
हम लोग को जानकारी मिली कि धमतरी और गरियाबंद जिले के सीमावर्ती क्षेत्र में करीबन 20-25 नक्सलियों की उपस्थिति है, जो कि किसी बड़ी घटना को अंजाम देने के लिए वहां पर इकट्ठा हुए हैं। इस जानकारी को पुलिस अधीक्षक महोदय को अवगत कराया गया। उनके द्वारा ऑप्स प्लान तैयार किया गया। उनके निर्देशन पर डीआरजी धमतरी से बल रवाना किया गया। डीआरजी धमतरी द्वारा 2 टीम मौके पर फॉर्मेशन बना करके एक अटैकिंग पार्टी और दूसरी कटऑफ पार्टी लगाई गई। पुलिस को देख करके नक्सलियों ने पुलिस पर फायरिंग किया और पुलिस द्वारा अपने बचाव में जवाबी कार्रवाई की गई, जिससे
We're going to slip into a quick commercial break here, but before that, take a look at this. Nepali climber Kami Rita Sherpa climbs the Everest for a record 29th time, breaking his own previous record of 28 ascents right down to the top. He is the sole person to climb the world's tallest peak for a record 29 times. Acknowledgement by government officials as well.
Who these individuals are. And these are the very reasons why
on News 9 Plus. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
Head to what it calls an expanded humanitarian area in Al-Mawasi. It's a further indication that the military Gaza resident Nidal says despite the war, nor does he have cash to get a vehicle to move his belongings. These evacuations follow overnight Israeli jet strikes across the enclave. Israel's military said it was continuing precise operational activity against Hamas fighters in eastern Rafah and on the Gazan side of the Rafah crossing. On Friday, Israeli tanks captured the main roads dividing Rafah's eastern and western sections, effectively encircling the eastern side in an assault that has caused Washington to hold up delivery of some military aid to its ally. The latest evacuation orders came hours after internationally mediated ceasefire talks appeared to falter, with Hamas saying Israel's rejection of the truce offer returned things to square one. Israel says it wants to reach a deal under which hostages would be released in exchange for the freeing of Palestinian prisoners held by Israel, but that it is not prepared to end the military offensive which was triggered by a Hamas-led attack on southern Israel on October 7th. 1,200 people were killed and more than 250 people were taken hostage in the attack, according to Israeli tallies. Israel's military operation in Gaza, which it says aims to eliminate Hamas, has killed close to 35,000 Palestinians, according to Gaza's health ministry.
Meanwhile, IDF spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari spoke about the IDF's precise operation in Rafah. He said that the goal is to ensure Hamas's defeat and the release of hostages.
The Israel Defense Forces is continuing its precise operation against Hamas in Rafah. As part of our efforts to achieve an enduring defeat of Hamas and bring all our hostages home. Our operations against Hamas in Rafah remains limited in scope and focus on tactical advances, tactical adjustments, and key military advantages, and have avoided densely populated areas. Since the start of our precise operation against Hamas in Rafah, we have eliminated dozens of terrorists, exposed underground terror tunnels, and vast amounts of weapons. Prior to our operations, we urged civilians to temporarily move towards humanitarian areas and move away from the crossfire that Hamas puts them in. Our war is against Hamas, not against the people of Gaza. Over the last few days, we facilitated the entry of 200,000 liters of fuel through the Kerem Shalom crossing. We facilitated and coordinated the opening of a new field hospital in central Gaza. And we are operating to enable the flow of humanitarian aid to Rafah through the Salah ad-Din road. Over the last few days alone, we were all reminded why our pursuit against Hamas is vital. Hamas fired rockets from Rafah towards the Kerem Shalom humanitarian aid crossing. The very same crossing that Israel uses to facilitate the entry of humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza. And on Friday night, Hamas fired 9 rockets from Rafah at the Israeli city of Beersheba, hitting a children's playground. We will continue fulfilling our mission of achieving an enduring defeat of Hamas and bring our hostages back home.
Well, shifting our focus to the Red Sea. At approximately 8:45 p.m. Sana time on the 10th of May, Iranian-backed Houthis launched an uncrewed aerial system, the UAS, over the Gulf of Aden from Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen. A coalition aircraft successfully engaged the UASs. There were no injuries or damages reported by the United States or the coalition or the merchant vessels, according to the United States' CENTCOM. Later, between approximately 4:30 a.m. to 4:45 a.m., similar Sana time on the 11th of May, the United States' forces successfully destroyed 3 UAS launched by Iranian-backed Houthis over the Red Sea from Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen. It was determined that these UAS presented an imminent threat to both coalition forces and merchant vessels in the region. Meanwhile, the campus storm over the Gaza war continues. Pro-Palestinian protesters clashed with police in Orlando in Florida on Saturday. The protesters alleged that the police sprayed pepper spray and tear gas on predominantly women and children who were peacefully protesting in a park.
Never be defeated. Never be defeated. The people united.
The IDF operation in Gaza has now killed close to 35,000 Palestinians, as per the Gaza's health ministry.
To do everything in my power to oppose genocide and to stand alongside the Palestinian people for their freedom, for all their land, every inch of it. I'm here to march with the state of Florida to oppose the U.S.'s policy of arming this genocidal regime, of working with it, of carrying out a joint genocide, and also as a Jewish person, it's particularly a Jewish person in the United States, is my utmost responsibility to be here with everyone who's here to stand for.
The police pushed through, knocking over women and children and everybody to get to a young man with a bullhorn who they forcefully tackled for using a bullhorn, which is something you can give a desk appearance ticket to or say, hey, cut that out. They tackled him and they arrested him and pulled him out.
Well, we're going to slip into a quick commercial breather here, but on the other side, the latest on the Afghanistan flash floods. Don't go anywhere.
$20,000 people dead and counting. What's happening in the United States of America is unprecedented. You will have to pay for this.
You were the chosen one to direct Mr. Bachchan for his first endorsement, for his first appearance on the small screen.
It was a life-changing moment.
Have you been a rebel with a cause?
There was a sense of responsibility, there was a sense of frustration.
Are you worried about cancel culture?
You tell a story with a fierce psychosis, you're gonna spoil it anyway.
This and more. Streaming on News 9 Plus. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
Why is the state not looking at putting an embargo on that?
As a Telangana person, I will not accept.
How do ordinary folks deal with this?
Welcome back. You're watching News 9 Live. The official death toll from the devastating flash floods in northern Afghanistan has now risen to 153 people across 3 provinces, according to the Taliban's Interior Ministry, while the World Food Programme said it was now double that particular figure. The WFP, which operates throughout Afghanistan, took to the social media platform X that the floods had killed more than 300 people. It did not give a source for its figure, however. Meanwhile, Taliban authorities sent helicopters to try to assist civilians overnight after receiving reports that over 100 people were stranded. About 153 people that have been killed funerals that are being held for the flood victims at this point in time. The World Food Programme says the death toll is well above the 300 figure without a particular source. Meanwhile, the Taliban's Interior Ministry says the death toll currently stands at 153. Devastating flash floods across Afghanistan. And the situation is pretty much similar in southern Brazil. Residents of a small town in Brazil's Rio Grande do Sul state grappled with catastrophic damage after heavy rains devastated their homes and streets. As authorities reported, the death toll had now climbed to 136 over there. Broken tree branches, mud and wreckage from homes littering the streets in the municipality of nearly 5,000 people. Storms and floods battering the South American country's southernmost state have also left around 5.3 lakh people displaced, according to the local civil defense body. The state is at a geographical meeting point between tropical and polar atmospheres, which has created a weather pattern with periods of intense rains or droughts. 136 people in Rio Grande do Sul that have lost their lives. Muds and wreckage now littering the streets as well. Meanwhile, the biggest geomagnetic storm in 2 decades resulted in dazzling lights displays across large swathes of the northern hemisphere over the weekend. Curtains of green, pink and purple lights, known as the Northern Lights, could be seen around the world, from Russia to the United States, as well as in parts of Latin America, including a rare appearance in Mexico.
Wow.
The biggest geomagnetic storm in 2 decades resulted in dazzling lights displays across large swaths of the northern hemisphere over the weekend. Curtains of green, pink, and purple lights, known as the Northern Lights or the Aurora Borealis, could be seen around the world from Russia to the United States, as well as in parts of Latin America, including a rare appearance in Mexico. The U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration described the event as extreme and warned on Saturday that the solar storm could pose risks to radio, GPS, and satellite communications. But Volker Bottmer, a leading astrophysicist at the University of Göttingen in Germany, said that while the solar storm is strong, it's not powerful enough to cause significant disruptions.
In the consequences of an extreme storm, you can have a lot of problems with the technology, infrastructure, communication, navigation systems, and so on. But this storm was not so extreme that we really have to fear of any severe damages.
Still, Elon Musk's satellite internet operation Starlink warned on Saturday of degraded service. Musk said earlier in a post on X that Starlink satellites orbiting Earth were under a lot of pressure, but were holding up so far. Geomagnetic storms are caused when explosions of plasma and magnetic fields from the sun's corona are directed at Earth. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration said the current geomagnetic storm is likely to continue through Sunday.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Top Stories. News and updates continue on the other side. Keep watching News 9 Live.
The football is mother of all games.
It is a team sport.
The leadership attitude is taking the ownership.
It's always a big responsibility to take decisions and the right decisions.
I always question the stereotypical.
And that's why you are in that position.
This and more, streaming on News 9 Plus. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
There's a new video around what deepfake can do.
We have seen a trailer of this a few days back.
Rumors should not be only on the platform.
We'll have to wait and see how those play out.
Hindenburg's report cannot be taken as gospel of truth.
The game of power politics has begun. The poll bugle has been sounded. Who will receive the death blow? Who will be checkmated? eliminated, it still remains to be seen.
ये दिखाता है हर कार्यकर्ता का बुलंद हौसला।
This and more. Streaming on News 9 Plus. News is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
Golf as a game, it is closest to the game that you call life.
You've got to use your mind. You cannot lose it.
The sharpest person is one who understands his limitations.
खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि खुदा बंदे से पूछे कि तेरी रजा क्या है.
You might have a bad break after a good shot. You might have a good break after a bad shot. But the fact remains, you got to play the ball from where it lies.
Watch Jeev Milkha Singh on Duologue with Barun Das, streaming on News 9 Plus.
Can the Trinamool candidate from Baharampur hit the ball out of the park?
50-60 दिन बहुत ज़्यादा बोल रहा हूँ, उससे पहले ही काम दिखने स्टार्ट हो जाएंगे.
Pitted opposite Pathan in Team BJP is Dr. Nirmal Kumar Saha.
The fight is not Adit Chaudhary and Nirmal Saha. The fight between Modi versus Rahul Gandhi.
Yusuf Pathan